YouTube. What's good? Okay, so it's actually been a while since I sat in front of my phone like this and put up a video. But nonetheless, today I was inspired to do so because one, I'm trying to move away from all of my blog writing for just a little bit and get more into videos. You're gonna be seeing a lot more of this with me and Jamila, for example. Seeing how our journey is taking us, any way that our experiences can help you, our opinions can help you, stuff like that. Whenever she actually gets time to sit down and record like 5 minutes worth of video. But anyway, or just thoughts, opinions. Y'all are free to ask questions for my opinions, her opinions. I don't know. But today, what I wanted to talk to y'all about was my opinion on confidence versus conceit. And I'll start that off by saying I'm a communications major, and today in class, in my interpersonal relationships class, we're reading this book by M. Griffin called Making Friends and Making Them Count. It's actually a very good book so far. I really like it. M. Griffin uses a lot of good analogies and metaphors and all of that, and he has a very good sense of humor. I actually see a lot of myself in him. But one thing that I found interesting that he had us do in the book was in the chapter 2 of self-concept, he's having us go through this self-awareness, self-esteem type of journey to find out who we are. That's literally the top part of the book, where he's asking who am I? And there he says, I'd like to ask you systematic look at your self-concept. You can read about your self-image until your eyes water, but the effort is wasted unless you come to grips with the image of you hold of yourself. And so pause for a few moments to take a blank piece of paper at the top, write who am I, number down the side from page 1 to 15. After each number, complete each sentence. I am. When you start, your paper will look like table 1 and basically right there. So when I read it, I actually didn't do it, but that was more due to laziness or whatever. I just didn't think that it was necessary for me because I've been doing a lot of that type of self-image type of thinking for the past almost 2 years now that I've been into MBTI. But I thought that was kind of interesting. It'd be very helpful. And today in class, our teacher asked everybody so who's actually done it? Nobody raised their hand, so I already knew what was coming next. He asked us to pull out a piece of paper and to write down our 15 things of what we actually hold of ourselves. And that was where all of this basically started. I actually still have mine here. So he gave us about 3 to 15 minutes to just sit down and write everything that we thought about ourselves. I am this, I am that. I just took a random sheet of paper and I wrote things on there, starting with, what I've been discovering about myself. I actually wrote maybe 18. I wrote extroverted, intuitive, saved, intellectual, creative, driven, charismatic, persuasive, conceptual, idealistic, altruistic, empathetic, mysterious, organized, loyal, communications major, boyfriend, poetic, brother, New Yorker. That took me just a short amount of time, but he asked us to share some of the things that we had written. Actually, even before he asked us, he told us, so he asked us to share some of the things that we had written. It was okay, cool. And other people shared and all of that. That was interesting. And then he asked us to put a plus by all the things that we saw that were positive, and then a negative by all the things that we saw that were negative. And this is kind of where we're getting into our topic for today. I raised my hand after a while, and I very, very, very cautiously asked him, is it bad if everything that you have listed is positive? And everybody in the class started to laugh. There was a lot of people nodding their heads like, oh yeah, not as in like it's bad, but as in like, yeah, me too. I'm just usually the one who's always like speaking up first. But yeah, I went on to elaborate by saying it was not necessarily that I'm conceited and I think that all I have are positive traits of myself, but it's more of like I've already been diving into this self-discovery journey since last summer, where I discovered the 16 personality types, MBTI. I discovered my personality type. And if I were to do this assignment last summer, like before last summer, then first of all, it would have took me a long time to write all of these different things that I came up with about myself. And second of all, because I feel like I honestly did not know myself before then. And it's kind of weird, kind of scary, but it's true. I spent too much time involved with other people, getting to know other people, that I didn't take the time to learn about myself. And ironically, my personality type, people of my personality type have that problem until they start to, go through this personal development stage that I'm currently going through, where they become aware of themselves and everything, which now I've finally reached, thank God. But yeah, so because I went through that, I actually looked at a lot of the negative aspects of my personality type, of me, and the ones that I resonated with were actually spot on. Like, it's like, wow, that is me. Dang, that is a negative thing of me. Dang, that is me. But then at the same time, there were a lot of things that I saw negative about myself that actually came off as positive from what they were saying. Like, for example, I'm a very caring and empathetic person. A lot of people would see that as, oh no, that's like really like feminine, or you're too like emotional or whatever. I personally used to see it that way, like, oh, why can't I be like cold like a lot of other dudes are, or anything, like why can't I just not like care. But now I've come to embrace that and see like, wow, God has really wired me to be this caring for other people, because once you have that superpower, once you have that empathy within you, then you're able to do so much. You're able to influence so much. You have to care. You have to be sensitive to certain people, to certain things, in order to impact them, because your opinion will mean a lot more to somebody else after they know that you genuinely care about them and you want the best for their well-being. And so I can use that to my advantage. That's not a con of who I am. That's a pro. And so, like I said, there was a lot of cons to or a lot of weaknesses and disadvantages that the self-discovery did show me. And one thing that I had realized was I basically picked up on those things really quickly, and I started working on them. Like the things that were negative, I either found out if I could use them for good. Like one of the things was manipulative. I'm not gonna lie, I am extremely capable of manipulating. And you have to actually look up what that word means to be able to really understand. Because, like, the way, and there's kind of like nuances to the word. Like, my definition of manipulation is just basically being capable of persuading people, or, yeah, persuading people, groups of people, anything, to do things that they probably were not really leaning on doing before. But now it depends on, okay, is there a difference between persuasion or manipulation? Well, there actually is. I'm trying not to get too off topic, but manipulation basically has to do with if you're doing it for yourself. And persuasion is just more of like, are you doing this like to help other people? Like, if you're just trying to help them, if it's best for the whole group, then it's not, I wouldn't really necessarily see it as manipulation. And so for me, I'm capable, I have that skill of being able to influence a whole group of people or a person to do something, but I would say 99% of the time, actually, tend to do that for the benefit of that person, even if they cannot see it in the moment. So that's not necessarily a con of who I am. It can be used as that, but I choose not to use it as that. And so just all of this to say, After discovering who I was, I began to embrace who I was. I began to embrace all of the great things about me and even the deficiencies in who I am. And I developed that. And that has all equaled to me gaining the self-confidence that I now have. Confidence. And according to the dictionary, confidence is perceived as, give me a moment. Confidence, a feeling of self-assurance arising from one's appreciation of one's own abilities or qualities. That is totally how I feel as of right now. Now, conceit is a fanciful expression, excessive pride in oneself. So conceit is excessive pride in oneself. So looking at those two definitions, there's obviously a difference. I would say that confidence is knowing who you are, being comfortable with who you are, and allowing that knowledge of who you are, how you view yourself, to hold you and be grounded, to allow you to approach situations and problems and people and everything with boldness. That's not conceit. You know who you are. You've gone through a lot of things in life, but you are still capable of holding humility. You can be confident and still be humble. I believe that Jesus was actually extremely confident, but then also extremely humble at the same time, if you catch my drift. Where as opposed to conceit, where it said excessive. So when you start going overboard with that confidence, so confidence can turn into conceit. I would say where you pass that line is actually when you begin to challenge other people due to like some sort of like cockiness, like in the form of trying to belittle another person or just basically show them that you are better. I believe that conceit is so concerned with bringing other people down in order to bring yourself up. But confidence is able to realize that there are other great people around, but you are just amongst those great people. Or to shift that around, you are a great person, but you're amongst other great people. And people can be great in very different ways. And confidence, a lot of times, has to be built up. The most insecure people become confident. I was extremely insecure, and I now exude a confidence that I had to build. I had to take the time, a lot of time by myself, reading, praying, studying, just conversations, all of that, knowing myself and becoming confident in who I am as a person. And so I believe that me becoming confident, it would be wrong for anybody to come for me, like from any of the statements that I may have said earlier today, to be like, oh no, you're really conceited for thinking that everything on your list was a plus. It's not like I always thought that everything was a plus. I had to look at those things. I had to go through a process on which I shifted my perspective. I shifted a lot of the things that I saw on that list as negative and made them become positive by stewarding the direction in which they'd go. And I feel like a lot of people who are confident, that's what they go through. They take that time to get to know themselves and just become a better person all around, as opposed to conceited people who a lot of the times are really insecure inside too. They don't even really know themselves, and then next thing you know, it's like a vase. You're just lifting it higher and higher and higher, and the moment you drop it, it breaks. But a confident person is not, I would say, is not really easily broken, because they're not looking for an ego boost. They're not, they have, it comes from within them. And so they don't have to seek externally for them to feel that groundedness and that confidence in them. And I just believe, I hope that, I mean, I spewed a lot out at y'all, and I didn't sit here and like write this out and all of that like how I usually would in a blog or anything. But I just feel like that's something that should really be taken into account when we're thinking of the differentiation between confidence and conceit. Done.